The midterm elections had been over for more than 5 weeks when troubling questions about incoming member George Santos's past first caught the nation's attention.
Calls for Republican lawmaker George Santos' resignation getting louder, now coming from inside the House.
So how did something so major in a race that helped give Republicans the majority in the House of Representatives go unnoticed? Experts say the answer goes beyond just shrinking local newsrooms. It's also the inability for smaller publications to get noticed when they do important work.
It's not great that Newsday and New York Times didn't have their own investigative reporters, but okay, a community newspaper did. Why didn't that blow up and get followed up by everyone? And it didn't.
The North Shore Leader, a small newspaper in Long Island, did report on some of the discrepancies surrounding Santos's finances ahead of last November's election. It just didn't get any steam. The paper does not have a Twitter account, and the rest of its social media is rarely updated.
It just shows how sickly the kind of underlying local news system that it couldn't even get to that. Even the larger places are not paying attention to what the smaller places are doing. And also that most of the smaller places aren't doing much.
Another trend Santos' election put on display, the growing nationalization of politics, where voters have trouble getting information about races outside of presidential contests or Senate elections.
Voters care about congressional candidates. They also don't have a lot of sources of information about their specific congressional candidates.
Voters in Santos's New York district probably didn't find it odd not knowing much about him. And because of reasons like that, the individual candidate can be less important than the party that comes after his or her name.
One of the downsides to a nationalized politics is that races for governor, races for mayor, wind up looking like the next iteration of Trump versus Biden. And we might miss the opportunity to discuss issues or to divide along issues that pertain locally but aren't as important nationally.
The problem for local news advocates like Waldman, whose group is advocating for public policy solutions to help protect newsrooms across the country, is that it is national media that is often filling the news void. And that can mean more ideologically driven content that focuses more on what's happening in Washington than in local communities.
I just think we should all have a real sense of urgency about the severity of the collapse of local news and the need to turn this around really quickly. And there's going to be fewer and fewer reporters really just covering things that are of interest or importance to a community.
Andrew Rafferty, Scripps News, Washington.